Don Squad in the house, stand up, salute. Pay no attention. Pay no attention to the beard game. The beard game. Been having a mask on all day, so sorry about that. I do apologize. I do apologize. Okay. Before we get into this, be sure to subscribe and enjoy to this channel. You'll never be disappointed. Be sure to hit the notification bell. Share this content with your friends, family, and followers. I hope everyone have a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving day in the next several days. So I hope everyone be thoroughly entertained and enjoy that. But without further ado, let's get into today's topic, okay? Now, this is not going to be, thanks for the thumbs up, this is not going to be for the weakest stomachs, okay? This topic is not going to be the most popular topic. What's up, my brother? What's up, my brother? Okay? Booger shot, booger shot. All right? So, this is not going to be a very popular topic, okay? And I got this topic, and basically this topic is talking about how scalpers are making it hard for people out there that really want a PlayStation 5. All right. And I was reading the topic, or I was reading the article, and I got my own unique spin on this particular topic. I don't know what happened there. Just don't know what happened there. It wasn't blowing at me. That's all I know. So this topic is not going to be for the weakest hearts. All right. Some people are going to get triggered by this topic, but basically the article said that scalpers are making it very hard and inconvenient for people out there that really are trying to get their hands on the next PlayStation 5, okay? Scalpers, they got their bots and all that stuff, and it's making it hard for people out there that really want this console, and they want this console during the holidays, most notably Christmas Day. Now, it goes on to say about this article how scalpers are really making this console hard to get online. And if you go on eBay, a lot of these scalpers are getting their hustle on. They're selling their PlayStation 5s, and the cheapest I saw was for $1,200, but there's some that goes up there from $15 to $17K. And you see multiple scalpers with multiple PlayStation 5s that's for sale. Now, last night I was looking at Amazon, and somebody was selling PlayStation 5s on Amazon for $1,500. All right, that's $1,500. Okay, for those out there that don't know what I'm talking about. So, and he had 6 available last night. Now, I'm pretty sure somebody bid on it because it's just getting hard to find these consoles. Now, Microsoft and Sony are notified about this, but there's little that they can do. All right. And as far as department stores go, they're doing their best. They're trying to make it inconvenient for scalpers to stand in line and online and get multiple PlayStation consoles, but they're trying to do their due diligence, but it's really a hard task to do. All right, so that's leaving a lot of people that want these consoles ticked off at Sony, Microsoft, ticked off at Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart, Target. They're ticked off at all these corporations, which they really don't have the necessary tools nor the means to stop this. All right. Now, I remember doing a live stream and I was telling you guys how when the COVID-19 pandemic started, you had multiple people, hoarding disinfectant spray and hand sanitizer, only to then go on eBay or online site and resell it to make a profit. Now, the government got involved, and a lot of people found themselves in a lot of trouble. Now, I feel like the reason why the government is not going to be involved on this because a console is it's not life threatening. It's not something that you have to have. All right, it's not that deep nor serious to the government where the government can put laws or sanctions on or try to get the eBay and them to discourage this. But my whole thing of it is a lot of people are not seeing what ultimately is going to factor in on the next console generation. And Microsoft and Sony is looking at this and they're going like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me there's people out there that's going to pay $1,000 plus on a console, particularly when you hear the news from Microsoft and Sony? They're in the red just making these consoles, and a lot of people putting their theory hats on, thinking, well, that's the reason why they're not manufacturing a lot of consoles. A, because of COVID-19, and B, because they're not making a lot of profit on these consoles. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, wait a minute, Chris, that don't make no sense. You know, if they can manufacture 5 times the amount, 5 times more consoles that they're making, they're going to make some money on the side. But if you read up on a lot of articles, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, Microsoft and Sony is in the red with these consoles, okay? So they're not really in no huge demand to try to go to other manufacturing plants and to get these consoles mass produced quicker, because A, it's not that deep, it's not that serious, it's a console, okay? Now, when COVID-19 was taking effect, you saw a lot of other corporations helping the world by making defibrillators and masks. Okay, you had companies like Hanes underwear was making masks. Okay, they changed their plant so they can make masks. And there was one plant that was making custom football, basketball, baseball jerseys, and they converted it into making masks as well. All right, because everybody was trying to do their part. All right, and the reason why, because masks are serious and they are important. Hand sanitizer is serious and it's important. Disinfectant spray is serious and it's important. Heart defibrillators are serious and they are important. But when you try to apply that sense to consoles, well, how come Microsoft and Sony ain't talking to Ford manufacturing plant, see if they can convert their manufacturing plant into a plant where they can make consoles, or any other manufacturing plant that does consoles and devices? Maybe get Apple involved, okay? At Samsung involved, okay? And the reason why they're not going to go to that extent, because consoles, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things of life, consoles are not serious. It's not that deep. So even though Sony and Microsoft could try to get help from other manufacturing plants to make more consoles, why would they, when every console that they sell, they're in the red? They're not making a lot of profit. They're in the red, okay? Now, in the long run, okay, you have to look at gaming as a marathon, not a sprint. If you look at it as a sprint, Sony and Microsoft is not making a lot of money on these consoles. But if you look at it at the bigger picture as a marathon, time they sell games, online subscription services, and things of that nature, accessories, when you multiply and factor all those things in the long grand scheme of things, they're going to make a profit. Microsoft and Sony are going to make profits, okay? But my original argument is, if the scalpers continue to grab these consoles and then try to flip them and sell them like 1,200 and up, making huge bang, but making a lot of money off of hustling these consoles, then Microsoft and Sony is going to say, okay, for 15 or 12 or $1,000, and if pay for the Xbox Series X, people buying Xbox X from scalpers for 1,000, 1,200, or 1,500, then the next console generation, we should gamers are fickle. Gamers always love these absolutes, okay? They love to throw these scenarios of, well, I'm not paying $70 for a game, or I'm not buying a subscription service, okay? Or I don't have to pay to play online, okay? They have all these absolutes of things that they're not going to do or they're not going to tolerate, only to flip the script and still tolerate this stuff. You got PC gamers trying to secure a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, but they've been crapping on consoles since the beginning of time, talking about how consoles are inferior. They're not as when on the grand scope of things, they're not as better as PC gaming on PC, and gaming on PC is like night and day compare when you compare it to consoles. But you got even PC gamers interested in a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. Why? Because it's the new hotness. Okay, so you got gamers. They're fickle and they're narrow-minded, and they always talk in absolute tones. I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that, but then they do it. Okay, and all I'm saying is, if you got people out there that's not really going after the scammers, okay, not really going hard on the scammers. Now you got a lot of people on, and you see the comments on YouTube or on social media or whatever, they'll go up against people that's creating content, telling you guys about how bad scalping is on the whole grand scheme of things when you look at it for gaming and how it affects us as gamers. But when it comes to saying something about the scalpers, they always sort of apologetic to them. Like, hey, it ain't no big deal. They're out here trying to hustle too. Why are you trying to stop another man's hustle? All right. You got people throwing that type of analogy and sort of making an excuse for the scalpers, not realizing that, dude, do y'all realize if y'all keep apologizing for these scalpers, making excuses for these scalpers, a lot of these corporations like Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are going to look at this and go, hey, wait a minute. If they're okay with buying $1,000 console from a scalper, they should be okay buying $1,000 console for us. Okay? This is the problem with a lot of gamers. A lot of gamers like backwards compatibility. I think backwards compatibility is an okay feature to have. It's not a must-have. It's not the top thing you want to have. But when you're in console gaming, the whole purpose of you buying a console is what? Exclusives. But Microsoft changed the narrative on why you buy consoles, okay? Now they're saying backwards compatibility is the end all and be all, okay? And that's the problem with Microsoft. Microsoft is not into, they're not really into making or developing exclusive titles. They're more into making content for Game Pass. They don't care about exclusive titles. PC, now PC gamers can play Xbox games, all right? Sony gamers can play Xbox games if they have a PC or if they have a smartphone or if they have a tablet. But by Xbox gamers saying, we don't care about exclusive titles, so what? We don't have exclusive titles. We have Game Pass, and this starts the problem. It starts eroding the whole foundation of the whole general purpose of why you buy a console. Now, if you look at Xbox, we had an Xbox One X a couple of years ago, and now we done jumped from the Xbox Series X, and the only thing has changed in the past couple of years is we get a new console, we get new controllers. But when it comes to new games or new exclusive games, we don't get that from Microsoft. And you have a lot of Microsoft fanboys saying that that's okay, that's fine with them. That lies the problem. Phil Spencer is going to always think he's doing a bang up job if you guys don't demand better. Just like the scalpers, if you guys continue supporting the scalpers by going to their websites or going to their profiles, buying these consoles 3 times the amount of what they actually are worth, if you guys continue to do that, then that problem is going to affect everybody. It's going to affect people now, and it's going to affect people 5 or 6 years down the road. All right? Because what you guys are telling the corporations, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, is you're fine with $1,000 console. You have no problems of spending $1,000 on a console. And ultimately, it's going to backfire and affect us. It's going to affect us. And Microsoft and Sony is going to look at this and go, well, wait a minute, holds up. These guys are buying PlayStation 5s from scalpers for like $1,500, and they have no problem spending that money. So if they don't have no problem spending money for the scalpers to make a quick buck, they shouldn't have any problem with us on our next generational console. Hey, instead of $500 or $600, $599 or $600, $500, try to hit it at the sweet spot, because we know how sensitive console gamers are. They don't want to spend $600 or $700 on a console. So let's just keep it at that sweet point. And Microsoft and Sony has already admitted that the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, they already admitted that they're going to be in the red selling these consoles. They're not going to make a huge profit on these consoles, but they figured by you buying the console, you're going to buy everything else in the ecosystem, and that's where they're going to start making their money. All right, so they're okay with taking a quick loss now, only to later on, 5 or 6 years down the road, they're going to start making bank. But now, if you guys sit up there and buy these $1,000 consoles, what you're telling Microsoft is you're okay with $1,000 console. So these scalpers it doesn't matter if, I know a lot of people say in the comments, I'm not buying from those scalpers, so how it's going to affect me? It's not going to affect you now, but it's going to affect you down the road. Because creature of habit, you guys are buying these consoles $1,200, $1,500 a pop, and Microsoft and Sony is seeing this, and they're going, our next console, we should start at $1,000. All right? So that's how it's going to affect you down the road, unless you're going to stop gaming or quit gaming. And it's going to affect people now by allowing the scalpers to finesse the system and to buy 3 or 4 different 3 or 4 PlayStations, only to resell them and flip them on eBay. It's affecting the people that's looking for these consoles. So it's affecting them now. All right. So it doesn't matter if you got a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. That's another thing a lot of people say. Well, I got a PlayStation 5. I got an Xbox Series X. So how's it affecting me? It's going to affect you later on down the road if y'all support this behavior. If this is acceptable for gamers, it's going to affect us down the road. Okay. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if it affects you now, but it'll affect you down the road if you continue and allow this to happen, unless you start speaking up and standing up and saying, hey, look, this scalping stuff, I'm not for that. I'm not with that. Okay. That's hurting us in the grand scheme of things. Okay. And there's videos after videos of people talking about they pay $1,500 for a PlayStation 5 only to get an empty box. So people are getting finessed, losing money left to right, hoping to get a PlayStation 5 only to not get it. Okay. So it's even affecting people from that perspective. All right. But people people think it don't affect me. Don't affect me. I got my PlayStation 5. I got my Xbox Series X. So how's it affecting me? It doesn't matter if it hurts you now, but it will hurt you later. And that's what a lot of people are not seeing. And the scalping is it's completely out of control. You got people that's standing waiting online, having bots in the system, finessing the system, to only make a quick buck down the road for people that's been waiting online to buy a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. So yes, it affects them, okay? And it's going to affect you. It may not affect you now, but it's going to affect you later on down the road, all right? So as gamers, we got to call this out. We just can't say, oh man, there's really nothing I can do. They've been finessing the system for years. Oh man, the scalpers have always had their way. It's funny how we give up on stuff that we believe that it don't affect us, but when it's something that really affect us, we don't have that quit mentality. When Microsoft was talking about DRM on the Xbox One, and you couldn't trade your games, and your console had to be online once every 24 hours, and you had to have your connected to your Xbox One. You see how how everybody in the gaming community was upset about that, and they voted with their wallet. They didn't buy the Xbox One X. And then Microsoft had to do a quick turnaround and got rid of those things. They did that because people were upset about that, because it affected everybody at that point. It wasn't a fact that, oh, well, I just won't get an Xbox One now. I'll just get it, a couple of years from 2 or 3 years down the road. Okay. No, it affected everybody. And you saw how the whole gaming community joined together as one. And guess what? Xbox did a complete 360 on that. All right. So don't say, oh, well, it is what it is. And then, there's nothing we can do, when there's been multiple times in gaming history when it affect us, how we stood up as one and united, and we stood up against that, and we made changes. Okay. And the same thing with the scalping thing. All right. You shouldn't have a mindset of, well, I already got a PlayStation 5. I already got an Xbox Series X. It's not affecting me. It's not affecting you now, but it's going to affect you on the next gen console, or the next mid-gen console. What if they go $100 more on the mid-gen console? Then what you're going to say? Well, I got the old console from 3-4 years ago. I got the OG PlayStation 5. Why do I need to spend an extra $100 on to get the mid-gen console? All right. Or the next generation console. And I'm telling you, these corporations, they're creatures of habit. They follow and pay attention to what we do. And if it's okay for scalpers to make a profit on consoles that they're flipping, the corporations, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo's going to say, well, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. I mean, y'all not complaining when the scalpers are making a profit, so y'all shouldn't complain when we want to make a profit, okay? And that's why you have all these ridiculous things that they was trying to pass for gamers, all right? But, you know, gamers talk about how they're not going to spend $70 on a game, but then they spend $70 on a game. So how y'all going to curb that type of behavior when we're not united on that? Which, by the way, you know, it's you're spending $70 on a game that's virtually the same game that you bought last year. What has changed from last year to this year instead of better resolution, better graphics, better frames? Okay, so you're spending an extra $10 for that. Okay, so I mean, it kind of irritates me about how the gaming community is so full of absolutes, but they don't really live by their words. And it really irritates me when people say, oh, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't bother me. When, yeah, it doesn't bother you or affect you now, but it will bother you and affect you down the road. You know, you just can't get upset 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road when everybody else was upset at the beginning and you said, oh, it don't affect me. It don't affect me. I mean, who cares? I got my PlayStation 5. I got my Xbox Series X. What about the PlayStation 6? When Sony says, you know what? If y'all are willing to spend $1,000 for the PlayStation 5, then y'all shouldn't have no problem spending $1,000 on the PlayStation 6 or the Xbox 9299er. That's gonna be the next the next new hotness, and the Xbox Series X is just gonna be an old jalopy. And then Microsoft says, well, you know what? Y'all spent $1,000 on the Xbox Series X, and y'all didn't complain then, so the Xbox 2-9er is $1,000. And you know what the scalpers are gonna do? They're gonna buy all these consoles, maybe not as much, but they will, only to try to flip them for $2,000. So you see how it starts off sweet and innocent. It starts off as, you know what, let a man hustle. What's wrong with, why are you trying to knock somebody's hustle, okay? It starts off like that, and then it morphs into, oh man, this is a serious problem. I didn't know Microsoft was going to charge us $1,000 a console. I didn't know Sony was going to do that. I didn't know Nintendo was going to do that. So that's the problem with a lot of you guys out there. You're full of absolutes, and you also full of, it don't affect me. It doesn't bother me. Who cares? It's something to really think about. And if we don't take a stand now, it may not bite us in the buttocks now, but it will bite us in the buttocks later on down the road. It's going to hit you. It's going to hit home. It may not hit home now, but it's going to hit home eventually. And then what? Now you want to throw your hands up in the air and say, okay, look, I done had enough. I can't stand me no more. And you're going to be with your pitchfork outside protesting, having your signs, protesting Sony and Microsoft. By that time, we done lost the war. So if you don't start saying nothing now, what good is saying something 4 or 5 years down the road when it's just a common thing? So, and that's all I got for this rant. I just wanted to throw my opinions out. I know people are going to have in the comment section that, oh, you big mad. Even though I have a PlayStation 5 and I will get an Xbox Series X at some point, but I'm not in a rush to get it. And they'll say, oh, you just mad because you didn't get one, or oh, you just mad because of this, oh, you just mad. Everybody takes things personal on social media. Everybody tries to make it a you problem. It's not an our problem. It's not a we problem. It's not a us problem. It's a you problem. It's just you. You the only one that's heard about this, okay? But nobody don't really think about the greater good and how ultimately it doesn't matter if it doesn't affect you now, but eventually it will affect you. That's where a lot of people get misconstrued, because everybody is in absolute and everybody memory is fickle, and everybody's in this mindset of it don't affect me. Yeah, it don't affect you now because you got what you was looking for. But what about the next hot thing? What about the next generation of consoles? You don't have that now. None of us don't have that now. And then Microsoft is only gonna say, you know what? If y'all was willing to spend $1,000 on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X, y'all can spend $1,000 on the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox 2-9er-9er-45. Oh, by the way, the Xbox 2-4-9er-9er still has backwards compatibility. Doesn't have any exclusive titles. But hey, we got Game Pass. Isn't that Game Pass? Y'all liked it the last generation. Game Pass again. Game Pass it is. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. Eventually, if we don't hold the scalpers, the corporation, the gaming industry, if we don't hold them and keep and make them responsible for all this madness, then it's gonna be total chaos down the road. Your silence is just the seeds of your silence is the seeds of what's going to ultimately grow that you're going to have to deal with down the road. Just being silent about it is only going to affect you down the road. Just by being nonchalant about it, it only affects you down the road. By you totally saying, well, it doesn't affect me because I got this, I got that. But yeah, it's going to affect you on the next thing that you don't have. And that's all I got to say on this. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'm up out of here. I'll talk to you guys later.